Hey, what is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today. Not only from vacation, but as well, tons and tons of updates that have happened in the last few weeks during my absence here. So, definitely going to get you guys up to speed on that as I return back from vacation here. But as you guys can see, the big one being the Marvel Strike Force blog post being released a couple days ago with the announcement of not only Super Skrull's kit, but as well Dark Dimension 6, the celebration in terms of when that timeline looks. So, I mean, he's everything as we kind of expected him to be, with the elements all being part of his kit. But it's really cool because there is going to be a new status condition that's being added as part of his kit. So we're going to be deep diving that as well, guys. But as well, I'm a big fan of how they kind of outline some of the events, so let's get right to it. So tons and tons of things to update here. So as you guys can see, they've given us this really nice summary here, starting from June 3rd, right? Obviously now Korg being the monthly featured event, all these events are going to tie in together, but as well as the other milestones that we need to be mindful of. So what I really like about this new format, and you know, again, forgive me for my absence, guys, in terms of maybe this was updated previously before already, but I like how they summarize in terms of, you know, not just the name, but what you need to do for each event. So for June 5th, you know, in a couple of days here, Suppose War, Battle and War, that's what we're going to be needing to do. We have the Sister Grand Blitz, Ebony Maw, Legendary returning. So it's really nice to get a sense of what's going to be happening, especially given the multitude of events that are running in tandem with each other, but as well for us newer players, those transitioning to mid-game, to get a good summary if they're following along, right? And a big one here, the Rough Rifts, opening intergalactic orbs, as well as, you know, saving up the gold orbs. That's going to be meaningful, as we've seen with the trend that, you know, training orbs, gold orbs, that's all going to be playing a part in the future now that they've tied in and really want us to be saving these resources to build that up. I also like the fact that they've incorporated which ones are web. So Battle of the Bark starting June 6th is going to be earning Blitz credits, so we know we got to save those up. Strike Pass 35 starting and featuring Gwenpool. So really good stuff. And obviously, I've already mentioned this before too, but I like how they're announcing now when the red stars are available for certain select new characters. That way we'll be ready to go and we know exactly when they're coming, as opposed to, you know, seeing their avatar coming to the game. You know, we incorrectly open orbs that aren't in effect yet, and then obviously, you know, we've seen how that debacle has gone down with compensation and so forth. Dark Dimension 6 first cleared celebration. So this is nothing new. If you guys have done Dark Dimensions previously before, you know that with these new game sagas that typically there's rewards given to the first player that actually does clear. So there's gonna be quite a few things, right? They're always kind of announced in terms of what's gonna be paying homage to their celebration. This can be featuring a multitude of different Blitz events where they select characters that were useful for them. But as we've seen with the typical Dark Dimension stage setups, this is very similar to what we've seen before, which is no traits. Then we are, you know, allowed global, cosmic, and city, which does not include legendary characters. And then finally, we wrap things up with legendary, which does not include horsemen. So that's going to be interesting to add some theory crafting there. Because as you know, the legendary horsemen are some of the most powerful legendaries in the game. So we got to utilize some of the OG ones. And as well, then wrapping things up with every legendary as well as Apocalypse. So this is what I was referring to earlier. The winner generally receives a Red Star 7, obviously, and then their name, representation, profile is all announced and kind of put into history, so to speak. So as well, this also benefits general players, right? The winner will get to choose characters that allow us really opportunity to gain these character shards. And again, it's a nice way to kind of give the throwback to the player base, but as well as obviously recognizing that first player recognition for completing it. So Super Skrull, guys, we've already seen this before with the sneak peek. We know that he's involved with Fantastic Four and him, you know, having all the elements being in his kit. So he's a very powerful villain, right? But as I mentioned earlier, there's a new mechanic that's called Exposed, and I don't believe that this was announced originally in the first when the blog post first came out. So they went back and edited. So it's really nice to see this detail. But Exposed is a new status effect that can be inflicted upon multiple enemy characters. It's a neutral effect, kind of similar to how charges work, but depending on the mechanic, it can be providing positive or negative effects, and that's what's going to be kind of interesting about it. Now, Super Skrull, he does have abilities that actually react to any characters that do have this new condition for exposure. So obviously it's going to make it more detrimental, or it can benefit as well allies. And it's going to be interesting to see how this mechanic gets added to newer characters coming into the future. But it looks like right now in the pipeline anyways, there's 2 characters, one of them being Super Skrull, and another one that's going to be shortly announced that's going to have some interaction with this new mechanic here. But overall, I really like his kit. He's got a really high speed of 124 already, but most of his abilities are going to be able to pierce as well as flipping positives to negatives, as you'll see with his basic, his special, and his ultimate. But more specifically, I did want to focus on some of the key tags here that it's going to be interesting to see how we utilize this character, because you know, there's going to be areas where, you know, you can see here, if this character spawned with 2 or more hero allies, he's going to be applying disruption. Conversely, if he has 2 or more villain allies, he's going to ignore defense up. So it's going to allow the opportunity to create some theory crafting, and especially if you want to balance maybe 2 allies with heroes and then 2 villains, and it's going to, you know, get the benefits of both, right? He has a lot of barrier too that he's going to be utilizing for his team, but as well as when we do have that mechanic of the exposure, he's going to be actually cleansing their barrier as well from the opposing side. So you'll see that pretty pervasive through all of his abilities. And again, you're going to see a lot of his mechanics is going to be involving ability blocks, disruption, piercing. Also, it depends if they have exposure, right? So obviously his abilities does apply exposure, but it's going to be taking advantage of that. He's going to be a very, very powerful character, so to speak, here based on what we see right now. I don't like deep diving too much into the kit because we know there can be changes based on feedback from the community base, but I do want to spend a little bit of time focusing on his ultimate and his passive, just because I think they're quite notable, and those are generally the focus points of any character. So his ultimate, applying trauma for 2 turns to the primary target, again consistent with his basic and special. He's flipping defense on all enemies. He's also going to be applying heal block and offense down, and that's really, really huge already. That creates a very powerful dynamic against the enemies when you're stripping and inflicting those kinds of conditions. You can see once again his mechanic with the characters being spawned that are 2 more villains. He's going to be dealing additional piercing. Heroes, he's going to be applying trauma for 2 turns to all enemies. So that's why I think having that balance of 2 and 2 plus Super Skrull is going to be very, very powerful and potent. We can utilize that in the future. You can also see, again, consistent with what we've seen, his barrier for himself and his allies, and additionally, his ultimate does not, it's not avoidable, it cannot be blocked or counterattacked, so it's just going to be a very powerful ability that just can't be missed. And then finally, his passive, fantastic one. So first time he falls under 50%, he's going to be clearing all negatives, as well as healing himself for 50% and gaining a notable stealth, which also gives him damage reduction. On stun, kind of similar to what we've seen with Dormammu and Dr. Doom, he won't be able to be stunned, but as well, he's going to be applying a stun to the attacker, so you really don't want to accidentally stun him as well, because not only is it going to work against you, but you're also going to be losing one of your characters that's stunned, so just got to be mindful of that. As well, when any enemy gains a positive or negative effect, he's going to be also healing, so again, it reduces his their speed bar as well, so he's just gonna be working against the enemies, which is really huge, lowering their armor, you know, and we've seen the standard raw increases to HP, damage, so forth, but again, now adding some more notable commentary for the exposure. Enemies with exposure cannot gain safeguard, deflect, or evasion, so it really does add that potency to whomever he targets. They're going to be in for a rough ride, just because they're going to be not getting that value right back from these other effects that they're able to gain originally. And lastly, when an enemy with exposure is attacked, he also attacks all enemies for 5% of his HP and barrier, so you really do want high reds on him, because it looks like whenever there is an exposed character on the team, it's obviously going to be impacting the entire team and not just that single character, which is absolutely huge. Yeah, that wraps things up, guys, for Super Skrull. I mean, I think he's going to be a very, very powerful legendary. I definitely think he's going to be worth it. Actually, I wouldn't even argue, probably, you know, it seems like he's on the same level as Apocalypse or even higher, just given how much benefits he's going to be having with the team. So it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic for sure. To Infinity is an event here for obviously upcoming Cosmo. very, very exciting. I know a character that's been, long overdue to be in the game. So great to see her finally joining the Marvel Strike Force universe. But it's going to be in the way of a campaign reward here. So we can see we're going to be needing to keep an eye out for these intergalactic characters to obviously push through it. But I think, the running time has been reduced from 14 days to 7 days. So it's going to be tight. But they did note that the increase to rewards such as shards should be higher. So we should be taking advantage of this unlock on. Obviously, with these campaign events, they're definitely one of the better free-to-play events, but also depends on the restrictions of the intergalactic trade requirements there. We got core intergalactic tour events, Bowls of War, so that's coming here, and that's typical what we've seen before, which is obviously using war attacks and trying to increase your points there overall through participation of war. We got Rough Rifts again. This is going to be running in tandem with Cosmos release, but what I like about this one is going to be a combination of opening intergalactic event orbs as well as gold orbs. So if you guys have saved that, it should be making it for an easier event, and this will definitely be helpful as it's going to add to obviously the month-long event for sure. So just going down here, guys, I think that's pretty much big for the updates there. Battle of the Barks Web milestone. So again, we already went through that earlier, but this is just a blitz credit, so just making sure that you guys are utilizing that and doing blitzes, and that's going to be adding to the points there. Star-Lord Annihilation coming in, that's going to be a fun rest star to do. He's a great character and part of that new team here that we're going to be seeing and utilizing, right, with Nova, so definitely good stuff, the Nova team there. And then otherwise, Monster Mash, Dark Hunters, Quick Rumble, and business as usual, guys. We got the Gwenpool confirmation for season 35, so great to take advantage of those shards there. Free claim Friday. Unfortunately, this video is dated, guys, so my apologies. You may have missed this already, but every Friday there's always a free claim obviously here, and we do see Cosmos shards were available, so that's definitely great to know. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get you back up to speed here with everything that I've missed so far. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick recap of the Super Skrull and Dark Dimension 6 coming up. But as per usual, I'll be making videos as my characters get ready and prepare for that. But I'm still quite a ways away just because a lot of my characters need to be geared up, and this is going to be a significant gear investment as we'll see in the coming months. But super fun to always make these videos, and I'm looking forward to it as I've done so in the past. Yeah, it's great to be back though, guys. Thank you for all the vacation wishes. I do really appreciate it. Excited, I feel recharged, and excited to be back in the game again too. So thank you as always. Do appreciate you checking my videos. Hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.